Hello, Mr. Safak. How are you today?
Hello, Mr. Mujahid. Thank you. How are you?
Thank you so much. What about we will talk today?
We will discuss what happens when alimony is not paid in Turkey. It's a difficult topic. Actually, it is not complicated. The rules are very clear, but the legal process is a bit challenging. First, you need to be careful. In fact, when alimony is not paid in Turkey, you can do two things. First, you can initiate enforcement proceedings, and second, you can file a criminal case. Let's start by talking about alimony. Which type of alimony we are looking at is very important. There are four types of alimony in Turkish law: precautionary alimony, alimony for the woman's poverty, child support alimony, and the last, relative support alimony. For each type, a separate legal process must be initiated. Now let's talk about what we call precautionary alimony. Let's say you filed for a divorce in Turkey. When a divorce case is filed, the husband and wife have the right to live separately. Once the divorce case is initiated, the husband and wife are no longer obligated to live together. So how will they support themselves during the trial? How will they pay the phone bill? What will they eat and drink? Especially if there is a child, how will the child's expenses be covered during the trial? This type of alimony, which the court orders to be valid only until the end of the trial when a divorce case is filed, is called precautionary alimony. This alimony is paid by one supposed to the other. Usually the man pays it to the woman. There is also alimony for poverty. This type of alimony is ordered by the court after the divorce case is completed. It is called alimony for poverty and is awarded to the spouse who falls into poverty due to the divorce and whose fault in the divorce is not greater than that of the other spouse. Another type of alimony is child support alimony. As a result of the divorce case, the child or children of the husband and wife are given to one of the spouses. The other spouse pays alimony for the children. This is called child support alimony. In this type of alimony, the fault of the husband and wife is not considered. It does not matter who is right or wrong in the divorce case. The mistakes of the husband and wife are not important also. The court prioritizes the care of the child in all circumstances and orders child support alimony. You may say there are many types of alimony in Turkey. Yes, that's true. The Turkish Civil Code was adopted from Switzerland and these types of alimony exist there as well. But there is one last type of alimony we haven't discussed yet. Finally, we need to talk about relative support alimony. Relative support alimony is something entirely different. It has nothing to do with the divorce. This alimony can be requested from a person's descendants, ascendants, or siblings. It is not a type of alimony we encounter very often, but it is in the law. In case a person falls into poverty, he has the right to request alimony from his children or his children's children or from his parents or grandparents. He can also request it from his siblings, but the law requires that the siblings have a high level of prosperity. Anyway, today's topic is not about the types of alimony. What we will discuss today is what happens if alimony is not paid. As we mentioned earlier, in Turkey, if alimony is not paid, the person must either initiate enforcement proceedings or file a criminal case. He can do both, by the way. How should alimony enforcement proceedings be conducted? There are important details we should know. Simply following the enforcement proceedings for any other debt will not suffice here. It is necessary to state in the enforcement request that this is an alimony debt. You need to include details such as which court ruled on this alimony, maybe when it was ruled, and on which day of the month it becomes due. Most importantly, it must be stated in legal terms that the alimony debt which occurs anew each month, must be added to the file every month. Alimony debt is considered a superior right in Turkish law. You might wonder what this means. I can explain it with an example. Normally, you can distrain up to 1/4 of a person's salary. If someone else has already distrained 1/4 of that person's salary, you must wait for that distraint to end. However, if you have an alimony debt, you can distrain more than 1/4 of the salary. Even if someone else has already distrained 1/4 of the salary, you can distrain the remaining 3/4 for your alimony debt in Turkey. Let me give another example for better understanding. Suppose a person has retired. Normally, you cannot distrain this person's pension. This is what Turkish law states. But if there is an alimony debt, you can even take the elderly person's pension in Turkey. Such an interesting protection is provided for alimony debt here. We have been talking about distraining salary. Not only salary actually, car, house, or workplace can also be distrained of for alimony debt. The money in the bank account can be distrained also. Of course, that's not all. In Turkey, if alimony is not paid, another method that can be used is to file a criminal case. This is not a classic criminal case as we know it. It is filed in a court called the Enforcement Criminal Court. We say in Turkish, İcra Ceza Mahkemesi. There is no prosecutor here. There is no investigation. Simply, you go and say that this person is not paying your alimony and you ask for them to be punished. This situation is started in Article 344 of the Enforcement and Bankruptcy Law, İcra İflas Kanunu, we say. The person directly or through a lawyer submits a complaint petition to the Enforcement Criminal Court. The court opens a case and holds a hearing. If a person does not pay the alimony, the court sends him to prison for 3 months. If he doesn't pay again, the court will send him back to prison. However, if he pays the alimony, the punishment is immediately lifted. However, I must mention that there are very important conditions for imposing a penalty in this criminal case. First of all, we must have an enforcement proceeding. This enforcement proceeding must be related to alimony. In this enforcement proceeding, the payment order document, we say ödeme emri in Turkish, must be properly notified to the debtor. I'm not talking about the document reaching the person directly. You can notify to a newspaper. The postal officer may have delivered the document to the local headman. There are various notification methods, but in any case, this notification must be made in accordance with the rules. If all these conditions are met, a separate penalty is imposed for each unpaid alimony. These are the methods that can be pursued when alimony is not paid in Turkey. It is neither very easy nor very difficult. However, there are strict procedural rules. In Turkey, it is not mandatory to follow these processes with a lawyer. But to be honest, it is not possible for a person to handle these on their own. Therefore, it is necessary to work with a lawyer. It should be noted that the work of the courts in Turkey is very high. It is important to file the case properly to avoid any loss of rights.